All right, ladies and gentlemen, another Onitar stream is upon us. I'll be doing some more portrait porting. I'm not sure how far I will get this time around, but I actually did some before I started this stream. I finished off the Terran characters, I reorganized some of the file structure, and I also did all of the Protoss units. So at this point, we just need the Protoss characters, and then of course we need the Zerg units, right, and characters. So obviously, we did port N. We already covered that, but a little bit more to it than just N. You know what I'm saying? So, on that note, we can go ahead and start. Oh, I also did some power ups. So I did like psi emitter and some other stuff. The vanilla power ups. I haven't done flags, and I haven't done Kadarin or no Uraj and Kalas, and there might be like one other thing. That needs to be done in that sense. So we'll knock out the flags at some point. I'm saving that for like last. It's very unnecessary right now. But we can go ahead and grab the Dragoon and Zealot versions of Phoenix, right? So say Phoenix Zealot, Phoenix Dragoon. This is definitely Tassadar. And then I'm trying to think about. Like, I know there's Zeratul. I think that might be everything for the Protoss. Zartanis is from Brood War. We can do Artanis. Zeratul. I actually think that. Oh, Rajagal. Rajagal. Okay. So we'll go ahead and grab these. So this is Phoenix Dragoon. Phoenix Zealot. I have unfortunately not discovered any quicker way of navigating through this and grabbing the requisite files and, or most importantly, processing the files. I haven't found any way to do that any faster, which is a bit unfortunate. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and also open up the Brudat portrait section, since we might as well. And we've got Artanis. And we have Rajagal. The character with perhaps the worst voice acting in all of Brood War. It's a bold statement to make, but you know. I say we have some more flag colors in here as well. And it looks like besides that, it is just the Kalas and the Uraj. I might as well organize the folders for those. If I go to neutral. I actually had already made the folders, but I hadn't grabbed the things. I'll start with this since it's pretty light. And since I'm also in the Brood War folder, I might as well go ahead and grab Devour and Lurker. I actually don't think there are any other Zerg ones, right? So it's just Devour. And Lurk. What's up, Lucy? Should be able to type in YouTube now, by the way. Okay. Oh boy, we got some very different, well, not very different, but our 15 framer was Fidget 1 instead of Fidget 4. So I think that's interesting. It's not something we normally see. And then we have a 15 framer for a talk. That's also something we never see. I guess the ghost is still the longest animation that we've seen. Not a very interesting stat, really, but it was like 25 frames for one of its idle animations or something. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that you probably wouldn't notice anyway, so I don't know how important it really is in the grand scheme of things. But I would have just expected as a baseline, expectation, right? That you would have seen consistency with the portraits in terms of the kinds of animation, unless there was a need to. And I guess that's probably what they did here, is they decided like, oh, this animation looks better if it's got a couple extra frames or whatever. So we know 15 and 15 and 10. Okay, and I guess we can duplicate this for the Lakizalisk. I'm just gotta put this below. And then we'll do the Lakizalisk one. Ah! Like, what I would do in general is probably make it so that the portrait animations are varying from... based on, like, whatever the animations are actually meant to be, right? I still think we'll do, like, baked PNG images for the portraits. Blackchain is a game that does this, actually, where they just have PNGs with the frames left to right. Similar to the atlases I'm making here. Although I think ours are a little bit more organized, but I honestly can't remember. I only looked at them for a very brief amount of time. But something like that makes sense to me, so... I don't see any reason to go away from that, but I know for like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2, Blizzard had some sort of... they had their own custom model format. I still don't really understand what the benefits of a custom model format are, by the way. That might be something that just becomes obvious the more I investigate it. But it doesn't seem to be that useful to me. Beyond the logic of, I don't know, making it more difficult to open the models or something. Maybe there's some compression that you get, like, so you save one file space. I didn't even notice that, but we have another talking that's longer. All right. Portrait Lakizalisk. What's up, UED Commander? So this is a 10, 15. Is it? Wait, no. It's 15 idle 4 and 15 talk 3. Okay. So that's done. We can go to power up. Wait, no, it's power up. There we go. So this is Callus and Uraj. I haven't done those yet, but that's what they'll be called. I updated the folder structure a bit to support that as well, since it was a bit whack. I'm also pretty sure that these are the same animation, but I can't know that for sure until I have them side by side. Oops. They are indeed unchanged. So I actually only need one of these, but in the interest of consistency, I'll go ahead and put them both in here. Crystal Callus. This is another set of 10. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just like palette swaps of the Kadarin one. Plot device portraits, by the way. Where's my, did I close it like an idiot? Probably. No, not this. Ah, Jesus. Imagine Python. All right. What? Dude, the Kadarin one looks fucked. I didn't do it, so that's just Blizzard. Okay, so now we know we should jump into the Uraj. Oh, Uraj, Callus, and Kadarin all have set Rostarts here. I probably just have the wrong thing then. Rostart for that is definitely supposed to be 1. I guess I just never customized that, and that's a funny prank. Oh, I customized it for some other things. So I probably just duplicated. What I probably did, yeah, was I duplicated like the idle or whatever, and then forgot to change that, which is fine. So, I guess for portrait mineral, I should probably do the same thing, huh? Okay. So, done that. All right, let's head back to Protoss and finish up those characters. Then we can go to Zerg. Protoss. First up is Phoenix Dragoon. Oh, I pranked myself and did the wrong one. Why have I done that? There we go. Just by having 2 different windows open, or 2 different Explorer instances open, it's slowed down the process of actually moving these pretty massively. It's at least doubled the time it takes Windows to move files. That's pretty incredible. Oh yeah, that was something else. A humorous story from behind the scenes. So we've been working on producing like a debug thing, a utility to tell us when something is improperly data entered, which is useful for a number of reasons. And by doing so, Veek changed it to print out in an stdout console. And stdout, to print a line, doubled our load times for startup. So that's pretty cool. What the fuck? That's pretty amazing. Somehow I opened these in the wrong portrait. I probably just misclicked at some point. Big dum-dum. So that's actually remarkably similar to all of the others. Should be pretty easy to remember that. All right. Alt-tabbing has a chance to just break this program. We're very close to the point where we can start to playtest elements of the game, which I'm very excited about. That'll be a nice opportunity for me to see how the concept is shaping up and whether or not, you know, it is in fact more enjoyable to experience than at least my memories of the average MOBA. But this is where people who are in the enthusiast space that we occupy are going to come in handy here, because they will probably have played MOBAs more recently than I will have. So, you know, if you're somebody who's partaken of... well, this is a disaster. If you're somebody who's played League of Legends recently or whatever, then when we get to the point where we're doing some public testing... or I guess it'll still be closed testing, but it'll be people in the audience. Your feedback will be quite interesting to parse through. I will say that much. Oh, I skipped Artanus. How could I forget the anus? Whatever, he's up next. There's a little bit of documentation with that. I think there will be at least once a year, maybe twice a year of seasons. Once a year is probably fine. Which is going to be very similar to other games that have done it. However, we're not going to, like, hide the stats from you or whatever. I think League of Legends had, like, an invisible MMR that you couldn't actually figure out. I don't know if that's changed. I'm not sure what Dota 2 does. That'll be something to take a look at some point. Oh, and I also have to act somewhat fast on exploring Heroes of Newerth. I do have it installed, but apparently it's closing up shop and the servers are shutting down. at some point in 2022. So I don't know if that means I'll not be able to play the game, but it would be nice if that were not the case. Ontario, yeah, that. It's funny that that's where the place that it picked. I'll attempt to navigate to our social section. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, so this doesn't really talk about the ranking system specifically. I think there's something about ranking in Cosmonarchy's description. Oh, competitive rating. The outcome of Cosmonarchy matches provide a gain or a loss of a player's rating. The amount is proportionate to the average rating of the opposing team, weighted towards higher values if such gaps exist. So this is basically like if you're playing a 2v2 and the enemy team has like a super high ranked player and like a player with a fresh rating, like a new player or a new account, then if you beat them, you will have your rating bonus given to you that's weighted towards the fact that there was a higher player on the enemy team. So it would be giving you, if you have two sides of the equation, and one is gaining rating commensurate to defeating fresh accounts, and the other end is gaining rating commensurate to defeating a high ranking account, it will be more on the side of the high ranking because there is a higher ranked player. So higher, like those gaps bias the weight in favor, somewhere in between those, but on the side of the higher ranked player. This is kind of like chess rating, if anybody's familiar with that, where if you're facing off against a player who's like several elo higher than you, and then you defeat them, or you draw against them, your MMR is going to go up, or your elo is going to go up higher than if you had defeated or drawn against a player who was even or lower elo than you. And likewise for them, they will lose more if you're, more lower than they are. Right. So we're not going to have any invisible shit like that and we also won't have like advancement games the way that you have in League. I've long since believed that is like basically any situation where there's a different amount of incentive across players by the ranking system, imposed by the ranking system, that definitely negatively impacts toxicity. So if you have a situation where like, here's my, if you have a situation where it's like, here's my game, I'm going into this game and I need to win this game in order to rank up. And then all of the other people on my team have no interest in ranking up. They're not going to rank up if they win this game. They're maybe not even going to qualify for promos if they win this game. It's another game to them. They still have an incentive to win because it's ranked and they want to get more points, assuming that's actually true. They want to get more points, but they don't have as much of an incentive to win as I do. And so that's going to naturally create this annoyance where it matters more that I lost the game than it does to them because the stakes are not the same, right? So I don't ever want that to be the case. If there's going to be different stakes in the game, it should be because like some external factor, like one player is driven to play to a super high level, and so it hurts them on an individual level. They psychologically feel worse about losing than the other player. That's something that I can't control, and that's totally fine. But if it's something that is imposed by the game or by the ranking system, that's bad, and that is going to lead to issues, right? Because we already get that. We already have a sort of phenomenon in ranked play where, as a player, if I am taking every ranked game seriously and trying to win every single ranked game, and I'm matching with players on my team who don't take ranked play nearly as seriously, and they're just there to play and almost treating it like a normal game or an unranked game. That feels really stupid, obviously, right? That's really dumb. So you're already going to have situations like that. And so to the degree that I can minimize them, I'm going to do that, right? And that includes seriously considering cases of reports where somebody has been reported as griefing or whatever. That doesn't mean that I'm going to obviously ban everybody or restrict everybody who has griefed, because or has been reported for griefing rather, because maybe they didn't actually do it. So there's obviously some black box there where we have to figure out how to parse replays plus reports and see if there's like an easy system for that. One way to do that actually would be to so there's a system in CSGO called Overwatch, which is funny because obviously later on Overwatch was the name of a terrible game that Blizzard released. And in Overwatch, you're just an average player. Once you achieve a certain minimum rank requirement, you can enroll into Overwatch, where you get experience rewards, which do nothing for you, really. They drop crates or something that you can spend money to open. But you get experience rewards. It's not really worth much. But you get this like very minor incentive. And the other incentive is you're cleaning up the game of cheaters, and you look through, and cheaters and griefers will get people who are reported for those things will get thrown into this queue every now and then, and you'll look at them and say like, all right, this person's guilty. All right, this person, I can't prove that they cheated from this. This isn't proof. Whatever your verdict is, you put it in, and so enough of those people along enough of a time span will do that. And so there's a few ways that you can use this system and filter it out. So basically in League of Legends, there used to be something called the Tribunal, but it gave you perverse incentives by rewarding you if you punished somebody. If you found somebody guilty, you got a reward. And if you didn't find somebody guilty, that didn't give you the same reward, right? So there's a perverse incentive there where you're just like, well, guilty. So give me those fucking rewards, baby. So obviously that's really bad. And I can't believe that Riot actually went ahead with that system. But they did. So that's obviously something stupid. However, something that this does open up is the idea that like, they're even deeper than that. What if somebody is just not good, not competent, and yet they're still given access to, punishing players potentially? And so one of the ways that we would do this is that there would be some initial reports that would come in, and say of the first 100 reports that come in, we manually review those. Like I manually review those, right? And if it's a very obvious case, or like, obvious to me that there's nothing wrong, because I'm informing the bias of the system, and I'm informing like what we're rightfully or wrongfully like removing, right? And so if there's like abusive language, just mute them, right? And if enough people mute somebody, I think at that point they will start the game muted, which is a feature that CSGO enabled. I think that's totally fine, and that's the way to combat toxicity, quote unquote, in the game as far as speech goes, and text. I don't care about that. I'm not going to ban somebody for saying stuff unless it's like death threats or whatever. Then it's like, I think there's a legal reason that you have to ban them. But barring some legal breach of law, I'm not going to ban people for text messages. However, if there's going to be a situation where somebody's griefing, like they're attacking their teammates or they're doing some other things, and I can see that, and that's obvious, then I will, say, okay, this verdict is, guilty. And anything I personally do, and maybe some other trusted people on the team, or trusted people like community liaisons or whatever. Anytime one of us, these trusted oligarchs, pass a verdict on, when a new person signs up for this system to contribute, they will have to review some cases, some of which will have already been reviewed by us. And if they get the same response that we did, because again, we're informing the bias that the system is skewed towards. So we're trying to design a system that punishes certain things that we believe are punishable and doesn't punish things we don't believe are punishable, right? And so we need to vet that. And my thought is, if we personally do the reports and come to certain verdicts, then we've done our duty there, and those get entered into the pool of reports that new people who are signing up to the system have to pass. That's like an invisible test, basically. And if they pass that test, and we like they've got the right answers, so to speak, then they're good to go. And we'll assume that what they're doing, like they're biased in the correct ways. You know, they're biasing the system. They're helping to keep the system biased against the things we don't want and for the things we don't care about, right? Or just neutral towards the things we don't care about. So I think that would be pretty solid. Makes perfect sense to me. And I would really hope, in general, that this sort of system works overall. And I think that's a system worth exploring to me. Now, obviously, there's room for gaming the system. There's room for something like, oh, you know, somebody knows this about, because I'd probably publicly state that this is what's happening, or I've said it as much here. I'm sure it'll get out somehow that this is the system that we're using, and as a result, somebody might have a vendetta, their own personal agenda, and they say, actually, I really hate, text, and so I'm going to, find people guilty of griefing if they were verbally abusive. But first I'll pass through all of these things, and then I will enact my agenda after I've passed the test or whatever. Like something like that might happen, which sounds really ridiculous. But, if you're planning for a system, you want to plan for these edge cases. And it's in such an edge case, I think people would be able to appeal. And if something gets an appeal, and it's for... I'm not even sure how the appeals process would work, but hopefully by appealing it, it would just re-enter into the report queue, and then other people who are not those agenda-driven sort of edge cases would look through it and overturn it, right? Hopefully that would be the case. And that would ideally serve, a purpose. And obviously, like, I would want to compensate the people who are going through it, members of the community who are doing this, to help keep the game's player base clean, so to speak. And so I'm not really sure how that would work out, what kind of in-game rewards would be good. It would probably be out-of-game cosmetics, where it's like, oh, you can have like this portrait banner or something. I don't know, like, profile banner or whatever, shit like that. I think that's probably the best way to do it, because it's not something that really means that much. But at least if you encounter somebody like this, then, it's a status symbol of a sort, so... I'm not sure. I guess it just got hung up. I don't know what happened. Oh, it didn't do the talks, because I was alt-tabbed. So, Jesus Christ, Windows, why are you so slow? All right, so let's do this. And we'll go ahead and save. No. All right. Apparently the talks or the FIDs were totally done, and I just didn't know that. But I'm glad I went through it anyway, just in case. So yeah, I have thought somewhat deeply about what we're going to do about reports and stuff, but I definitely think the answer lies within those Overwatch-style systems, with some way to make sure that whoever is signed up for a system shares the values that we want to propagate throughout such a system, and shares a distaste for the things that we want to remove from the system. And of utmost importance to me is the enforcement of, like, creative, or I want to enforce competitive integrity, which means if you're doing something to sabotage your team's chances of winning, that should be punishable. Oh, and the reason why this came up at all, of course, was the fact that we were talking about, like, how to, design a competitive ladder where you don't have, a lot of negativity going on, a lot of toxicity, and a lot of, yada, 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 all these talking points. I think having a system that doesn't allow people to just grief and then get away with it, like intentionally feed or whatever, is a great way. That's a great way to get started, right? If you remove if you at least ameliorate some of the issues that are downstream of that, I think you'll go pretty far, actually. So that's my 2 cents anyway. I think that's some of the biggest problems with League of Legends is like over-focused on verbal abuse that you can just sidestep via the mute function. And, you know, I'm not saying anybody should have to deal with it, but nobody should have to deal with their competitive game being sabotaged by somebody who just doesn't care as much as you do, and thus is intentionally feeding or sabotaging the game in some other way. And that's more important to me than, you know, making sure that I don't have to... I don't know. I hope whatever I was just talking about makes sense, is all I'm saying. This is that. This over here. Okay. Tassadar. Oh, right. I don't even know if this still exists within League of Legends. But reporting for unskilled player, does it even do anything? Is that like a real thing? I guess the only reason why that would be a useful report is actually if it was something like a boosted account or whatever. But I imagine reporting for that allows you to... I don't know, I just imagine if you wanted to game the system and you were trying to report somebody because you were really annoyed that they were in the same game as you, and normally you would report it as unskilled player, but actually, wink wink, it doesn't even do anything, then I imagine that would just be something that would be pretty easy to avoid. So, I don't know. So we got Phoenix, Rakuten, Portrait. And idle 4 is 15. Phoenix, Zealot, Portrait. I see. I wonder why they would remove it. I mean, it's not like you would see the reports, the number of times you were reported publicly, so I am kind of curious as to why that was ever removed, since it seems like it's a pretty useful thing to throw in there for the people who don't know what's going on. I still need to do Zeratul, but we're almost done with these Protoss characters. So this is actually idle 3. And it's 15, and then we have 2 talks. Okay. Oh, I did just realize now that I am pranking myself here. 1, 2, 3. Is that even true for Cabal? Is 1, 2, 3. It looks like they just have 2 talks. Let me take a look. No, they have 3. Okay, so talk 1, 2, 3, and idle 1, 2. Okay, 0, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 is actually correct there. Yeah, and I also imagine we could do some sort of filtering where it's like, the only reason why you would need to investigate the account is if it was like a ridiculously high volume over a short period of time or something. Or I guess over a long period of time actually would make more sense. Because a lot of the times those things are basically done through like, oh, I didn't like this guy. You know, maybe you caught him in a bad game, but you're like, fuck this, get him out of here. I mean, I have no illusions that I'm going to clean up internet toxicity or whatever. I just feel like minimizing the amount of times where, you know, players have to deal with that external to the game itself is a good cause. I don't think that's even arguable. Okay. Well, we've corrected the definitions for all the Protoss ones. I still imagine there are some Terran characters that are busted. 0, 1, 2. Maybe they're all busted like that, actually. It certainly appears to be that way. The good, in air quotes, news is that there aren't actually that many unique portraits, so correcting this mistake isn't that difficult. Sure. The critters are also cucked. Fix that up. Basically what happened is when I was doing the initial duplication of these, I didn't change row start all the way back to when I first started working on these portrait conversions. This is going on, I don't know, like at least, 4 or 5 days. So ain't that big of a deal at the end of the day, but oh, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now we are good. Let's go back down to Tassadar. As long as the reporting system has better feedback than League of Legends, people will be happy. There's people intentionally feeding for up to 100 games or more that never get punished because the system only really cares about typed toxicity. Yeah, I definitely strongly dislike that. And it kind of is sad, like genuinely sad, that that has not been addressed right now. Because as much as I don't think Riot Games are morally sound, ethical actors in the space, and as much as I think the gaming industry would actually be better if they experienced a total collapse, I still, that doesn't mean that I want all of the people who play League of Legends and that sort of thing to, be negatively impacted by the software that they are experiencing. Like, at the end of the day, they just have to realize that it's a net negative and, quit it, so to speak. But it would be nice to know, actually, Riot has improved the product. That does not seem to be the case whatsoever, unfortunately. As much as I would like that to be the case, Basically, I just want them to stop being a net negative on many people. And that does not seem to be happening anytime soon. Now, obviously, there are way bigger fish to fry if you're talking negative things, but still. Doesn't make them any better. There she blows the final Protoss portrait. Now, Zerg here. So I know we have drone, we have advisor, we have larva, egg, cocoon, mutalisk, guardian, queen, hydralisk, hunter, killer, Zaz, Dagoth, infested Kerrigan, Ultralisk, Zergling. What am I missing here? Defiler, Broodling. I think that's it. Ooh, hunters. You hunters. After this, I'm pretty sure it's just the flags, which is pretty nice. Pretty shocking that this is how few portraits are actually in the game. Alright, we only have FIDs here, so we'll just get rid of these folders. Missing one of the talks. They did a full suite on the egg, but not the defiler, by the way. Did I do larva? I did. Oh, I did. I missed Overlord when I was doing the folder structure. One talk animation for the queen. What are we missing here? Fidget 3 or 4 rather. Yeah, I think we got them all. Just these flags that need to be ported over from the Brood War folder, and then we're good. Yeah. All right, boys, let's take it from the top. Aha! I have to fix these guys too. Yeah. Easy enough, homies. I wonder if there's much utility in notifying players when a report that they've issued has actually been resulted in a suspension or ban or whatever. Some sort of punishment. I guess if there's something that, like, forgives elo loss, that might be useful as a notation, but I'm not sure if I would bother doing that. I don't know. Because that also kind of creates a perverse incentive, like, oh, if I report this guy, even though he may not have actually lost me the game, then I'll regain the lost elo. It's perfect, dude. The palette really fucked the background on this one. Yeah, I know it's something that people like quite a bit, but I just question whether or not it's massively I think that's fine, but I'm not sure if I should be going further with it, like specifying which player or anything like that. I don't know. Probably not. Probably not necessary. I guess that would also potentially lead to some other issues of abuse or something. But anyway, yeah, that should be pretty simple to implement. Why have I done this? All right. I'm pretty sure this is actually the same portrait as the young chrysalis, by the way. It is. Almost certainly. Let me actually confirm that, though. Yeah, they're identical. Alright. Won't bother with that, then. Unless that weekly bird is a crow. What's the point? It is too bad that emails are just mostly spam these days. Oh, I did relative. That was my mistake. I was wondering how I got to one extra. I guess I can add Cerebrit. That Zaz is also in the same area. Okay, what do we got here? Just missing this, and this is 10. I also know that there is the Dagoth portrait. Which is, as I recall, something dumb. So I'll just go back. Alright. No idle 4, is a talk 3, and they're all 10s. The Devourer. Ain't that nice. I am looking forward to next year. Christmas will be almost certainly we'll have a fun map for the community to play. Be pretty heavy on the multiplayer action. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the game just comes out then, and that's the Christmas present. But we won't get ahead of ourselves just yet. I actually do predict that we can at least have a game. I don't know if it'll actually release, but like basically the only thing that would hold us back from a release are the art asset stuff that we need to wrangle. But the game itself should be done way sooner than that even. So. Oops. Pranked. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Increasing our mind share. What kinds of games do your family play anyway? Is it? I know you said you were gonna try to get them to play the Brood War mod, but I imagine they also probably play some MOBAs and stuff. Might just be up their alley. Well, there's definitely going to be plenty of RTS content to go around, I'll say that much. Okay. I think I can save a click if I hit close first. Yeah, okay, cool. Making pretty good time here. It's pretty funny that Vic was like, yeah, I can probably do portraits tomorrow. And that was yesterday or 2 days ago. And meanwhile, I'm just going to finish porting all portraits. If that doesn't light a fire under his ass, I'm not sure what will. But he has been doing some pretty good work on the rendering stuff. Stuff he hasn't pushed yet, so I can't show it off. He's making some improvements to it. I assume to make it somewhat faster, but also hopefully smoothing out some issues that AMD GPUs have had with the version of OpenGL that we've got. I'm assuming that's just some driver nonsense, but he might be able to resolve that with this refactor. I don't remember if that was something that this the update that he's working on now is actually meant to resolve or not. It's still pretty crazy to think that we already have more we already have more features, by the way, than Broodworm. I guess it doesn't really take that much, but still. No, I didn't hit close. Noob. That Horizon Zero Dawn game is on sale. Not sure by how much. I don't even remember if that's a single-player game or co-op or what. Might be interesting. Alright, there's no fourth fidget animation for Hunter Killer. What the hell? Free Hunter Killer. Wait, what? Idle 2, 3, talk. Oh, okay. This one also didn't have that then. Man, I don't know what's going on. I think we figured it out, maybe. Yeah, okay. Oh, you know what? Something I forgot to do was actually add the character folder directory. For the Protoss stuff, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'll have to update the file path. We've got our 10S. Inextrigating Zealot, Rashagal, Zeratul, and Tassadar. And so, we can save this. We can go to Artana, support. Okay. Back to it. Oh wait, this is what I'm looking for. Horizon Zero Dawn is boring combat. There's no depth. That is unfortunate. It seems, from what limited information I have about it, I actually can't even remember if that is the game where you're supposed to be controlling dinosaurs or something. Like robot dinosaurs. That might be something completely different. Maybe that is that. Yeah, actually, I think that might be something completely different. That might have been called like Apex something or whatever. Not Legends, obviously. I don't remember. Oh, it does have robot dinosaurs. Maybe that is what I'm thinking about then. I knew it also had a female protagonist, so. What's up, Viker? I'm just about to finish all of the portraits, so you better get on this, homie. Because soon I have nothing to do again. I know you've been busy on the, what do you call it? The rendering stuff, so I'm not actually giving you shit, but I thought it would be mildly humorous for you to be like blindsided by my productivity. Let's grab a Droleth. Oh, this isn't Droleth. What is this? Ah, Jesus. What is this called? What is this? Wait, is that? Why did I duplicate that? What do we have? Droleth. Is this Rilla Rokor? Yeah, I think so. Why no? Rilla Rokor portrait exists somewhere, though. Oh, I guess not. I must have, I don't know what I did, to be honest. I probably copy and pasted it over here and changed it and then forgot, or something. Something dumb happened. Whatever it was dumb. Anyway, now we have Hydralisk. So. Okay. Next. This idiot. You know what? It's kind of funny that I remember from Nemesis Omega I had Infested Zealot, and I just used Kerrigan for the Kerrigan unit graphic, the Infested Kerrigan one, and just modified it. So like it moved faster, it attacked faster. Obviously it was weaker than Kerrigan's unit statistically, but that definitely made it feel a lot more threatening. But it was also remastered, so it's terrible by default. I can't believe for the queen bitch of the universe, Metzin's fucking darling, they only gave her 3 fiddle animations. Oh, wait. Actually, I can believe 3. There was a pretty interesting portrait edit at some point. I think it was like Undead Kerrigan or something on Start at DLDB. I'll see if I can find that later. That's pretty good. It kind of looks like Harvey Dent or something. So it's pretty funny to me. Daggeth. So I know she only has idle 1, 2, 3, talk 1, 2, 3, and they're all 10s. Don't say war chief. It's a bad man. I too default to no after asking me to delete a file. God damn it. I can't wait to empty my recycle bin. These are the same. I mean, it's not like larva will even be a unit, so I'll throw it in here for completion's sake. Portrait. So what are you up to, Viker? Just wanted to make sure that that was actually the same size. I couldn't remember if it was 51 or 54. Idle, and then there's like variants or whatever, which we still haven't figured out. But yeah, idle and talk. Then copy. Oh wait, no, this is more similar to the Rilla Rocor Orgazithalor. Go ahead and put this above Vithralisk, Mutalisk. Okay. Okay. Sounds like a plan to me. I can mass replace the comments in my next commit that has all of the remaining portraits. Or that will have them all. If you want me to do that for the purposes of testing. You got it, homie. Considering the Zerg were the ones that definitely took the biggest hit in terms of like unit responses, I'm kind of surprised they didn't also take the biggest hit in terms of portraits. There's some Terran portraits out there that are like way less feature complete than the Zerg ones. So really, I think it's more of an issue of like some Zerg or some portraits in general just get disproportionately less attention than others. Whereas like there hasn't really been an outlier on the other end where like one particular portrait got a lot of attention, which is I think is kind of interesting. Like this Queen one got pranked. Like the Goliath and the Ghost are not very good either in that department. But there's not really been one that we've seen where it's just like, holy shit, they put so much effort into this portrait. It's like, nah, not really. Because you would kind of think that that would happen, but... I guess I should move this down here. All right, so we know it's pretty much standard business, except for the fact that there's only one talk animation. Meanwhile, the unit with 2 unit responses for each type is the one that gets a full set. Like, you can't make this stuff up. So ridiculous. Well, I guess it didn't get a full set. It only has the standard 4th fidget anim, as opposed to the extended one. But that's still way more than the Queen got. A much less useful unit, a unit that you'll see much less of in general. I mean, I guess that's not true, but what I mean is the portrait is what you see very little of, because you're probably just... Their suicide unit, as opposed to a unit that'll stick around for longer, so... What even are Blizzard's priorities? The world may never know. I thought those were bugs or something. Ah! think that's what I decided to call them prior to removing them. I mean, they were Scryling, but now it's obviously Scryrocore. Let's do... I guess we'll just duplicate the Skithrocore... I mean, the Rillarocore. I actually wonder, what are they called if not... Did I just not, I may not have ported the sprite sheet at all. Yeah, they're not under Scourge, they're not under Avenger, so I just didn't port the graphic. That's something that I'll have to rectify at some point. Okay. Anyway, 3 portraits remaining. No, it's flag time. Oh, and there's no idle 4 at all. I actually don't remember what other portraits were skimped out on that factor. I guess the Matroleth, which I already removed. There's probably some inaccuracy in one of these, is what I was thinking. If I ever removed, like, a Talk 3 or something. Maybe Infested Kerrigan. Yeah. 3, 4, 5 is what that should be. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 5. Okay. Hopefully that's all of them. I believe Zaz is the one that I edited to make Gorn. Was it Gorn? I think it must have been Gorn. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't Gorn. It was Cag, the homie. I think Cag is in the manual or something. That guy's a lunatic, though. He's the Your Corpse Will Feed My Brood like all the others. Cerebrit from Stormborn. Get him in that character. And basically the same thing here. Oh, what the fuck? 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's fixed. Now it's time for the Zethra core. We, of course, saved the best for last. Yeah, we had briefly talked about it some weeks ago, and we both found it odd that it decided to emulate heavily what J does, at least from the spec that we're aware of, but didn't credit J for the ideas or it's like inspired by, and then like basically every fucking language besides J. Really makes you think. I guess it could be coincidence and convergent evolution or something, but that seems really wild. Strange behavior. If he's an outspoken guy, maybe it would be interesting to get him on the channel for an interview at some point. You can drop a link in my DMs or in dad-oriented design if you think it's interesting to share with everybody else. All right, Zerg portraits are done. Time to do some flagging, I guess. And I ain't talking about mundane Matt. Jesus, nice flags. I guess I should, before I do that, I should grab... What are in each one of these? Just one? They might even be the same thing, so I guess I should do one before I go crazy. But I'll grab these base folders. Neutral. Right. Let's do flag 1 and see what it has. Ginger Games. That's a good bit. Interesting that these are only 7 frames. Okay, so these are indeed the same thing. So we just need to... put this in here. I'll put flag in a separate folder. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we have blue, teal, Purple. Actually, I should probably reference the color list. Oh, those didn't get changed. Okay, never mind. Orange. Brown. I know after brown is white and yellow, so white. And I guess 9 would be green or something, I'm not sure. We've got green. I suppose that's peach, which probably does have a corrected name. Ah, it's lemon. Okay. And we have lemon, peach, and then royal blue by the looks of it. Let's see if this actually matches up. Okay. Indeed, it does. So now we can just do this. Flag 3, flag 4. Oh. I should have deleted that earlier. That's kind of dumb of me. I thought I already had somehow. But that's fine. Okay, we've done our junk. Oh, that's another thing we should have done, and I forgot to do that. It's row count 7, so we'll do row count 7, backward direction. Okay. All right, now that's done. I can minimize this because we're just going to be doing this stuff anyway. Oh. Must be PNG, homie. Okay. Classic. Yeah, add-ons are not implemented either, so that's not that surprising. Wonder why the blue one is slightly larger. Blue heavy color? Blue for fats? Bet you didn't know that. Oh yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. Currently, they are planned for Keltar, so... And obviously, if we wanted to have them work like in the Brood War mod / map or game, then we would need to implement them as well there, but... Okay. Yeah, that's basically what I was expecting. Obviously, the add-on related stuff would be like not limiting it to one add-on per structure and so on. Which is the same way as Cosmonarchy Retail will have it under the current logic or current concepts. GG, boys. It's 10 FPS for Brood War stuff. As far as I understand, anyway. Here's where I thought I had done it. I had imported the unit sounds. That's why I was... weapon hit, actually. Do I have an entry for unit? No, I don't. That's fine. What's up, Bethrilethal? Why did you do 12 instead of 10 exactly? Alright, well, it's done at least. Yeah, but what does that math have to do with... Oh, it's based on the tick rate or something? Or the... I guess it would be the frame rate as opposed to tick rate, but... Well, that's kind of stupid, but... I don't know why... I don't think rendering something like a UI-specific thing should even matter to the ticks, since it doesn't need to be communicated or synchronized. Like, it's not something that needs to be networked. Unless we want to save that kind of information, so that, like, if you're reviewing a replay and you have tick the thing that lets you see what the... Like, there should be an option in replays to see what the player was doing, so you can, like, basically follow where their view was. if we wanted to record all of that information somehow, then I guess I could see a reason why you would want to limit it to the tick rate, but surely some things should just be like it's fine for them to be client-side. But if it's easier to just get a quick and dirty implementation of it using that, then that's fine. But I was just confused. Well, all portraits are done. I will go through the area and remove the thing here. Hold on. That's a good bit. Oh my god. I hate Notepad. I just wanted to remove all of these comments without having to manually do it. What an annoyance. I told you it's not actually in my version. I actually control F'd in the changelog that I have, and there's nothing about a dark mode, so it's a good prank. You still have the rules that I sent you for the portrait variant stuff, right? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I don't understand. I guess you're talking about your automatic detection. Well, the assets themselves are also in snake case, so I don't know if Snakecase would break the auto detection if we converted the soundset files or soundset entity declarations. So this is going to throw you a lot of errors if you don't actually have handling for them set up, but shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay. That's also heading up now. And speaking of heading places, I will head to the bathroom. So BRB. So I have returned, but it's food break time. So does anybody want to tell me about some trailers? We can do this Age of Empires nonsense again. Any trailers in here? See what Mesk is posting. Oh. I guess there's some boners he's dealing with. Hats off to Mesk for learning a new skill. Always a good time. You don't watch any trailers? Bro, there's a trailer that came out for, let me see. I don't remember where it is. There's some trailer for a new RTS game that's more like another Company of Heroes clone or something. Yeah, I will see that trailer after I make it. Hopefully, I'm not the one making it, but I'll direct it. Let's see. Do we have any? Yeah, here we go. We'll do RTS Games 2021. What do we got? No. We need RTS Games 2021 list, and then we can cross-reference that with a trailer. Who better to go to than PC Games N? Yes, that's right. PC Games N. It's impossible to overstate how enjoyable RTS games can be. Well, I agree with you there. There are few things as satisfying as building up an immense army and simply washing over your foes like a river over stones, erasing their existence as a click. Well, it was not very effortless. I can't say that word. Effortlessly. I can't say that word. But you can probably see the problem with this is that you probably shouldn't be doing it with a single click. Homie. Okay? Probably should be one click. If you're looking for a broader list of the best strategy games, no. And I definitely don't care about turn-based. Okay, scrolling down. The genre is largely defined by the likes of StarCraft and Age of Empires. But indie games like Northgard and Driftland, the latter of which I've never heard of, have shown there's plenty of other voices to be heard. There's also plenty to celebrate in games that are technically real-time, but not strictly speaking considered RTS. So, like, 2 or 3 times in the opening 2 paragraphs, they start talking about stuff that are completely unrelated to... Oh yeah, I shouldn't spoil the list. I didn't see anything. They start talking about stuff that's completely unrelated to RTS games. They're like strategy games that aren't RTS. Then there's turn-based strategy games. And now there's not RTS games but are real-time. Why? This is a list of the best RTS games on PC. Why are you boring me with stuff I don't care about if I collect on this list for RTS games? The rise of MOBAs has challenged the RTS scene quite significantly, but this hasn't stopped some worthy games rising to the top ranks to earn their own place in the Hall of Fame. Here's our take on the best RTS games on PC. They were skewing more towards newer releases because, honestly, we all know how good Homeworld was by now. Well, I don't because I haven't played it yet, but... Okay, the best RTS games are on PC are Age of Empires 4. We already reacted to that trailer. I know how that's a disaster. Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun. I can almost guarantee you that isn't actually an RTS. I think that's one of those like Total War games, right? So let's do, what is it? Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun trailer. I can't type either for some reason. Here we go. We got a release trailer. I'll turn my music off. We'll go ahead and unmute the audio and accidentally open that. Okay. Let's take a look. We got some lighting here, boys. This is a loud-ass assassin. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, did you like? Hold on. What the fuck? This is not normal YouTube. This is something they fucked up. Oh, my enemies turn into a YouTube video before my very eyes. Holy shit, that's intense. How'd that get into the trailer? Wow. Wait, she didn't even animate. Nice old man, bro. Oh, Takuma! What the fuck? Mugen! I guess if you wear blue armor in this game, you're just there to die. These are some good animations. Huh? Yuki! Huh? And Hayato. Check him out. Okay, so that doesn't look like an RTS game. And that trailer didn't really tell me much. But okay, so you're 0 for 2 so far, because we've already seen Age of Empires 4. We know that's bad. But at least it is an RTS game, but that game doesn't look like one. All right, let's check out Northgard. Is there a Northgard trailer? Yeah, you gotta know, by the way, Northgard is a game where, let's just say, in this opening scene, you can already see this is something that they have in their trailer video on Steam. The boat on the right isn't actually aligned with the water. So they didn't even care for the opening frame of the
news came of a mysterious land lying beyond the Iron Hail, prompting the clan elders to send their bravest warriors. They sailed through fog and storms, navigating the treacherous Iron Sea, until they finally reached the shores of Northgard.
I feel like the art style of all of these map objects are completely different. At least the fidelity is completely different. So we've got like full bright objects down here. These like white stones in the lower middle area. We've got trees of various... I don't know if this... I don't think I've ever seen a forest or a woodland clearing or anything where it had trees of this kind of variety. But whatever. Maybe this is a fantasy land where different colors grow next to each other and it's not a seasonal thing. Then we've got the darker stones next to the full bright stones because lighting. And then we've got these like burnt out ones. But like I sense a very difficult to pinpoint visual disconnect between this, and I think a huge part of it is related to lighting. You can see on this left side of the frame over here is pretty bad too. And am I the only one who doesn't see shadows? Like there's some units moving around. I see shadows in this scene, but maybe we were zoomed so far out that the shadows didn't exist. Like here's another scene where, okay, now we do have trees shadows going down here in the bottom. This whole area is in shadow, which might be because of a mountain or something on the left. This area is also in shadow, but there doesn't seem to be a shadow cast from the building itself on the far right by the pier or the dock or whatever that is. The watchtower is casting a shadow, but not the building. Like this tower is casting a shadow. You can kind of see this, whatever this mausoleum crypt thing is. It seems to be casting a bit of a shadow. Like, it's weird that that's kind of inconsistent. Maybe it's the angle. Like, why would the shadows be casting down to the right and then straight to the right for this one? And then right and slightly up for this one? I don't know what the light source is. Maybe the light source is based on the camera or something. Oh! upgrades. Well, we have turning delay. Hold on. This is obviously meant to grab your attention. I don't know what that dog is over there. This looks fucked. I don't know if this is like, am I not in the, no, I am in the highest quality on YouTube, which is not very high anyway, but there's like a haze over this area or something. I think it's just because of YouTube compression. Not doing a good job at this one. Alright, well that didn't really tell me much about the scale of the game, but that does at least look like an RTS, so I'll give you that one. What else we got? Ashes of the Singularity. Haven't seen that one. Ah, Jesus Christ, I can't type with one hand. Or at all. Is it escalation? Is that it? Yeah, okay. E10, by the way.
The 3.0 update is now available for Ashes of the Singularity Escalation. 3.0 is a massive update and includes revisions to nearly every object in the game. It features improvements to graphics, gameplay, the engine, and the AI. Many weapon effects and impacts have been improved, and now Substrate and PHC adhere to a more consistent color palette.
So, I don't know anything about this game, but the game seems to be running at a lower than normal game speed based on how slow everything is. I'm also seeing a lot of what appear to be nodes on the map, which makes me kind of think that maybe this isn't conventional gathering. But at least there are a lot of units.
The death explosions of units are more impressive and unique between the factions. The massive balance rework sees units and factions rebalanced on symmetry and asymmetry. This makes the function of units in the game more consistent and intuitive for new players. Units are now more intensive on logistics to make quanta a more important and strategic part of the game. The weapons of many units have been adjusted.
I feel like there's some assumption that I know what, like, he said quanta or something. I don't know what any of that is. We've got abilities, we've got upgrades, like, the UI could definitely
to provide better targeting.
Some simplification, maybe.
Bombers will drop their pay.
I also see that in there, this is supposed to be a trailer, by the way. This is obviously not a trailer. But in the top left, you can see an FPS counter, and they are not getting 60 FPS in their trailer.
And beam weapons can more easily target enemies. The game engine has been updated to support 32 logical cores. This ensures greater performance for high-end processors in the future. The AI has also been improved and updated to match the balance changes. Players should now find it more aggressive and fun to play against. These changes and more are now available in the 3.0 update for Ashes of the Singularity Escalation.
Well, there's a gameplay trailer here, so maybe this has something. Like, I'm seeing a lot of units in most of it. This isn't as many units as, like, what was just here. But it's moving very slowly, and when I was over here, this one looks, there's like a lot of idle units down here for blue. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. And this is obviously for an older version of the game. I hope that they've resolved whatever this is on screen. Like, this is unreadable. There's like dark units with not very, I don't know what the fuck is going on with the contrast over here, but there's zero contrast against the terrain. Like, you could tell that there was some lag there when he was zooming all the way out. They perhaps wisely did not include an FPS counter at any point in this, so we can't poke holes in that. I'm not really sure how much a fan I am of. I don't really like the idea that you're zooming out super far only to see like a huge map which just has like approximations and icons and shit instead of it being like a consistent view. This is probably useful for readability, but at that point, why not just make the base view readable? And also, I imagine another part of this is to like visually, it's for computationally drawing all of this, either through GPU or CPU, like processing all of this data, so that you don't have a super low game, super laggy game or something when you zoom all the way out to get as much in the view as possible. But that's really, I really dislike the fact that I change views so drastically between cases. Yeah, this area is lagging horribly. Hey, maybe the reason why... Oh, Jesus, my hitching. Ooh, that FPS. Listen, I respect the fact that they're trying to get this thing going with this many units and this many battlefields and stuff. I don't know anything about the gameplay. It doesn't look very appealing to me because it has like upgrades and ability powers and shit like that. Like I don't like any of that stuff. But I respect that they have a ton of stuff, right? But they did not, like, they don't have they clearly don't have actual support for it on the hardware level, you know what I mean? Like, you're getting hitching all the way through this. Watch him zoom in. Hitch. Yeah, still hitching. Okay, I think we're not hitching anymore, but it's hard to tell. Maybe the reason why I keep thinking the game is running at a lower screen, a lower FPS, is actually because the game is lagging all the time, and that's why it looks like it's going slower. I will say as well, actual combat, it's really hard for me to gauge how impactful some of these projectiles are. Like, this looks like it's supposed to be... Or no, not those ones. Yeah, these ones look like they're very threatening. They've got like this giant glow that obviously YouTube destroys. They've got the just their general trails, like the length of the projectile. This seems like it's really impactful stuff. And then you have stuff that looks a little bit like it. It's coming in from the sky here. I don't know where that's actually coming from, this stuff. But then it appears to like hit without, well, I guess we cut away before we can see that. But like, it's just hard for me to immediately understand like how much damage is actually being dealt here. But okay, that's the highest scale thing we've seen so far. Yeah, I don't like that there's no minimap, and I don't like that you're zooming out or whatever that way. But at least we have some high scale shit, you know. Now we've got Driftland, by the way. I also do like that there is indeed Supreme Commander, StarCraft 2, AoE 2, Homeworld, Deserts of Karak, which is like apparently a cut down version of Homeworld. This isn't even an RTS. Europa Universalis is like another one of these Shadow Tactics games in terms of it not being an RTS. It's obviously not the same kind of game. And then Battle for Middle-earth. Bro! Have you not played this game? This is ridiculous. Oh, they actually do go into detail about some of this stuff. I suppose we could poke fun at that. Yeah, where's their Shadow Tactics thing? Because this is clearly not an RTS. One of the best examples of modern RTS games. You don't control vast armies with innumerable units, but instead you guide an elite group of 5 characters. What? It does fit into the RTS genre. How? How? Explain how. Like, this is just like a micro mission, basically, but like, you know, turned into a map or something. I guess the fact that it's in real time is like kind of interesting compared to a lot of turn-based games that are the same way. Maybe it's even a good game. I mean, I doubt it based on the trailer being pretty poorly animated, but maybe it is actually good. Maybe there's, you know, some fun gameplay to be had there. But calling it an RTS is just like, it's not. It's just not. What the fuck? All right, well, whatever. So yeah, all of these bottoms, this bottom section is like junk. This is junk. This isn't an RTS. One of these is not an RTS as well. This is so Ashes of Singularity seems to be the only like one that's worth taking a look at some point. Driftland. I won't write off Northgard completely just based on that, but I'm assuming it's not really all that great. Okay, we have the Magic Revival trailer. This is the last one we'll check out, and then I'll go back to what I was doing.
War between the ruling mages raged for centuries, but their recklessness had a price. Warring races cast a powerful spell to keep their shattered world in balance. To achieve that, however, they used all the remaining resources of magic. Refugees of the world they knew regressed into primitive tribes. Yet now is the time. And new mages are born, like a spark of hope. And along with the magic, the old conflict has also returned. Face the world after the magical apocalypse. Become a powerful mage, destined to reshape the ever-changing planet of Driftland. Develop your settlement into a worldwide empire. Exploit valuable resources. Lead an army of heroes endowed with free will. Exterminate your foes. Dominate the battlefields of Driftland and crush other mages. Explore the uncharted world. Witness betrayal and hope, hidden in the intertwining stories of all the warring races. Now, the fate of Driftland lies in your hands.
I actually don't mind the concept behind this game, but I'm not so sure that they'll, based on the trailer, that they've executed it very well. I don't really get a good feel for like the gameplay, but I guess they're showing like UI-less gameplay, like without the UI. I don't. What did it? There was something over here where they blow up the platform. Over here, this is. This seems like a bit of a letdown over what you would expect. I guess you can. So you can blow up the terrain. But then it doesn't seem to have much of an impact on anything else. Maybe I'm just missing it, right? Like maybe this is like these molten rock things that you've created. You can like harvest or you can interact with afterwards or something. I don't know. This seems like an interesting one. Okay, so of this list, we have two games that are potentially interesting. Northgard, which jury's out on, but probably not. And everything else is junk or not an RTS. And mostly it's not an RTS, so not a very good list, PC Games N. Gotta say I'm disappointed in you. All right. I think we've done our due diligence. I mean, I think it's enough to know that you have to... Yeah, I agree, Milestone. I think it's enough to know that you basically need to go through and... Like, if I say I'm making an RTS game, I can't leave it at that. I have to specifically say, you know, it has units instead of squads, and it has base building. Like, the fact that I even need to specify these things. Jesus. Okay. So, I guess I'll consult the Vicar. Hey, Vicar. What's the status? I should get status to figure that out. I'll pull anyway, because it was a pranker. And clearly, this is not the same as saying, my branch is up to date. I guess I should have fetched first. You'd think that that would have done that by itself, though. Check him out. It looks like he only ever plays one anim, but he works. Ah. Clicking on him does not do anything. But that's a man. All right. Time to go in and start adding portrait, dude. Did you know? Where's portrait put here? Below sprite sheet. I guess that makes sense. I don't know if that even came across over, but that was that was stupid is what that was. Wait, did I actually call this like... Okay, it looks like I did suffix everything with portrait. I'll make him in. I actually don't even remember what the portrait is for the Seraph. I mean the Siren. I mean the Striga. I mean the... No, that actually is correct. I just had to keep saying it for the bit. Eidolon. I think this is the Goliath portrait. I guess we should figure out where the static portrait is. I'm not sure if that's generated somehow instead of it being an actual SM. No, I think for sure it's an SMK file. I just need to find out where it is. Because that'll be the blank portrait, basically. Which we won't need to manually define. It will just default to it. Wheelchair portrait, I guess. Now that we're no longer limited on what portraits we can implement, should be pretty easy, actually, to add some more. Yeah, pretty amazing that we needed our own engine for that one, huh, guys? I'll have to process a few portraits that were Cosmonarchy specific. Ah, don't print. Whew. Imagine if I was that good. If only a lot of things. Nah, it's better that it's better this way. We're gonna have our own shit. So. Wait, that's not what I wanted to extract it in. I actually did do a slight pass on the sounds for the Brood War mod recently. I did a couple of additions, but It's not really all that useful, to be honest. Like, I can't actually go nearly as far as I want to go with that. Because unfortunately, what happens is we hit the string limit of the TBL level. So the string limit of the file that tells the game where to look up sounds. So if I add more sound entries to that so that the game can read them, we're fucked. So the solution we can't really reasonably extend that limit because like everything else, it's just way too complicated. The solution would be to like somehow have our own definition file that operates in parallel to Blizzard's system and basically replaces it. That doesn't have the same limitations. It's still pretty annoying though. And I don't suspect that will actually be done at any point. So. I feel like, well, it's basically just it's a 64 kilobyte or 65 kilobyte limit. So it's the same limit as all of the other text files have. I forget what I called it something funny. It was like bioplasma or something. I'll just call it Ski Rock Suicide for now since it's not even used. Okay. Okay. I'm glad that I remembered to actually add the ski record. Now let's process those portraits. Hello? Oh, Windows. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I think it thinks my... Wow, that's amazing. It thought my control key was pressed. I guess my keyboard might have broken that one. I was thinking eventually we could probably do some pretty simple, what do you call it? Like visual transformations on the portraits. So if I wanted some sort of palette swap type thing, it would just be able to be done in definitions, but I don't know how expensive that would be relative to just loading a file. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty annoying, but I can do that. I'm processing some portraits first. These are the ones that are from the mod that I had selected out. What do you mean, old order def? It isn't really that helpful because it's wrong, because I didn't index it, or I did index it at 0, so... That's gonna be an annoyance no matter what. I'll just cross-reference it with Firegraft, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So now we need to go grab the... Ah, CAG is in here. Who would have guessed? CAG actually has some... he has a different width and height than the other portraits. I'm interested in seeing how we'll handle that. Okay, the goal is that. Ah! Don't do that. Okay. All right. Now I get to do the lovely resources, portraits. So this is 20. This guy did a bit of an oopsie by using the full black. Pixel, whatever. Okay, so the Clarion portrait has... I'll just count them out through this, actually. We have 10 on the main, 20 on idle 2, 12 idle 3, and 15 idle 4. For talk, we got 14, 10, 14. Okay. Easy enough. These next two will be even easier since there's only one animation for each, unfortunately. I shouldn't even bother batching 2 in a row since it's pretty easy to just ignore them. So these are 56 wide by 60 tall, so they're inverted, which is pretty funny. I clearly just fucked up on the conversion when I did these, which is my fault, and I never ended up correcting that one. I'll just do 1, 2. I'm kind of amazed that improper sizes even work in Brood War. I think it was like 16, and then I don't remember what the talk was. We'll confirm, though. 7 for talk. Okay. I'm very interested in seeing how that one turns out. Oh, these might actually be the same image. They sure are. I guess while I'm at it here. Oh. I wasn't contiguousing on this. That's a problem. I mean, not really. It just creates slightly more work for me. That should be good. Ish. This is actually a recolor from a red one. And I just never ever fixed the issues that cropped up here, as you can see. That should be good enough. All right. Yeah, this is also 56 by 60, so we should do height 60 times 6. Okay. Probably should have been able to do that mental math, but I wasn't even really sure at that point what all I was mathing. Okay. So what do we got here exactly? We have to do some I should actually make sure that the clarion frames are the same size as well. Let me jump over to wherever I just was. Yeah, there. Okay. I think that's it for graphics that I knew I wanted. So let's do local Windows debugger. Check out my Drakadin portrait and Ahmed. All right. So Ahmed exists. That's all I needed to see. Close that. I'll go ahead and close this as well. All right. Now our last bout of goofiness before I close the stream will be jumping onto the icon ID bandwagon here. Oh, actually, I don't even need this. What I need is a much more reasonable way to do this. Okay. So we're adding 1 to the unit ID in here. So when I say watchdog, it's 125. I see bunker, that's 126. If I search for treasury, 216. I would like to confirm that this is the same. No. I wanted icon ID above tier. So right above sprite sheet, basically. Just swap the regencies. Scrolled by too far now. Okay, missile silos done. Alright, I just finished the Terran units, so I'll take a break for a second, because I wanted to check out the portraits that I was just mentioning. It looks like maybe the portrait is rescaled to the size, because I don't see any difference here. It's hard to tell, though. What's another one? I think I know why this is like that, yeah. Okay. Oh, I guess the Clarion isn't listed as an air unit? Oh, it is. It's flags, flyer, plane air fighter. It's air pathing is just wacky, I guess. All right. Oh, the other one I was going to test was the auger. I think that's all the ones that I actually have hooked up. Spawn one auger. It looks like it, but I don't know. You would know better than I would based on what you just saw. You might consider looking at YouTube, since you can actually rewind, because it's a almost functional website. Well, even that's being too generous. It's more functional than Twitch, though. That's for sure. So it's not actually functional, is what you're telling me? Synthetic cyanide. again! Ah! Hi. What's up, dude? I hope you expected nothing less. Oh wait, this might actually be that fraud spammer idiot. Yeah, that's what I expected. How unfortunate. Wasn't even the real N. No. Not to my knowledge. I banned some of his alts from the Discord server. That was like years ago. That was when he was like spam joining. I still don't. I think that it was probably Shirk or something, to be honest with you. The gimmick accounts. I just had a flashback to when I had not really done too much for, what do you call it? I hadn't done too much for one of the, I think it was the monogram, back when it was just called the warp anchor or whatever I was calling it. I had added the button, but didn't actually hook up the unit. And then I used the unit ID for something else eventually. But because I didn't hook up the unit, there was a brief period of time where on the live patch of back when it was called Hydra, people were just spamming Bengalos for 1 mineral and 1 Vespine gas. It was like instantaneous because it was an unconfigured unit. So just your robotics facilities would start pouring fucking Bengalos out, which is pretty comical. Have my cat, why don't you? At some point, I also have to do the icon IDs for weapons, but I don't even think that's hooked up yet. I don't even remember now what the fuck the name was. Was it Ski Record? Oh no, wasn't it Scry Record? Yeah, it is Scry. Okay, that should be easy enough. Okay. So yeah, I don't, at the end of the day, know what the icon ID is for the Scry Record in this new setup. It might not exist at all. So I'll have to take a look at some point. Finish this first. Okay. Let's take a look at the frames. Because I know I'm using the unit ID, or at least I'm pretty sure I'm using the unit ID. Oh, I did re-add it at some point. At least I must have for the this. I guess it's not, it's 48. If we're doing that index anyway. Cool. Well, hopefully this is correct. I forgot to do shared icon IDs. So let me do that real quick. I did just also remember there's another portrait I wanted to port at some point, but it's not that big of a deal. I would amend that typo if I cared. All right, boys, we've done it, IMO. I'm not sure what Veek just pushed, but I can check it out. Okay. Apparently something about the talk timer is fixed. I'm wondering if there's some weird fuckery happening at the beginning of each animation or not. I can't really tell. Anyway. True. Something's bugged there, and it's not related to the weapon. All right, well, yeah, that's cool. We did it. GG, boys. Good shit. Good progress. I will, close the stream down now and chill out a little bit. Recursion, you are spawning thingy with thingy? That's a good question. Overlay explosion bio small. Is what I'm doing. Maybe you can spot the issue before I depart. Yeah, it's probably something that got fucked by a refactor. Should be easy to fix. It was happening to stuff that wasn't previously dysfunctional, like the Aurora death too. So I don't think it's anything to do with the Scree Records particular implementation. But all right, that does it. The final straw, the last straw. Just kidding, because there will be more streams. I think I'll take tomorrow and the day after off streaming so that I can focus on a new video for the No Frauds Club YouTube channel, where I'm finally going to be breaking into Command & Conquer 3 and why it's so terrible, especially the control aspect. So until then, stay tuned, and I will see you guys later.